All right, so case mod time. It's been a while since I've done anything like that. I've talked about the fact that my daughter wants to start live streaming, but we're gonna be moving her setup to her bedroom, and her setup that she has now is not going to fit in the space we have. It's very compact. So with that, we have to shrink her setup. So I've been on the hunt. I have bought a lot of cases over the last week trying to find just the right one to allow me to be able to do a theme I want to do for her and still be space efficient and cost efficient and all that sort of stuff. So today I have two cases from John's Bow, Amazon brand I'd never heard of and I took a chance on, and they were very inexpensive. Both of these cases together combined cost less than that Lee & Lee A4 Dan case collab we looked at. So I'm gonna show you the case I chose because I needed both of these to decide, and you can see they're very similar. But this is the D20 right here, and then this is the D32 Pro over here. Both are MATX and ITX cases, support ATX power supplies and SFX power supplies. So anyway, now I gotta pay for these cases, so I'll be right back. Okay, so let's talk costing here actually. It was like $10 more than the Dan case Lee & Lee A4 collab. Anyway, the Z20 right here, which is actually the smaller case, was the more expensive one at 99 bucks. I kind of hate when I do these videos where I find something I think is neat on Amazon that all of you have probably already known about, but then the amount of you that might rush out and go buy it now inflates the price. So I apologize now, but this happens all the time and it sucks. But it's like anything else. If you're a brand, you're like, why is everyone suddenly buying our shit? We should probably raise it 10 bucks, 15 bucks, whatever, right? So for those of you that get in, if you're looking for a case this size, I have full towers too. Anyway, 99 bucks on this guy. They have it in black, which I have, orange and black, pink and white, lots of colors. Actually, the pink and white's 105 and the orange black is 105. Yeah, anything with two colors costs more because lower yields, right? In terms of quantities. But the D32 is $69 and it's actually a little more room. Now you might be wondering why the smaller case costs more. And this is like a mini review, by the way, because this is not the point of today's video. It's about tearing down these cases and painting them. This is a single piece of metal that goes from the back all the way. Actually, no, I take it back. Right here. It starts right here at this seam. So it comes all the way across. There's a single piece, bends and comes all the way down to the front to right here. So this part on the top all the way to the front is a single piece, and that's probably not cheap to manufacture. But I am pretty impressed with the quality overall of these. They're very beefy, very heavy. They're steel cases. They're more weighty than you would expect. MATX and ITX. So not the most common of form factor for MATX, but that's what I'm gonna be using in her build, I'm pretty sure. She's currently on a 10700K on a full ATX. I think she's on an Asus Prime. I can't remember, actually, she might be MSI. The only MATX board I currently have right now is actually the Z4 Asus TUF B650, which is what I'm probably gonna put in here because it's black with some orange theme, like orange accents, which actually will go with like the button and stuff. Doesn't really matter though, because I am gonna be painting all this, except maybe that bottom piece. It'll be interesting. I think I can pull the button out. I have to figure, that's part of what today's video is gonna be about, tearing this down and getting ready to paint it. But I went with this guy for a couple of reasons. One, it's a little bit more spacious. Whoa. The glass wants to pop out, so keep that in mind. It's a little bit more spacious. There's a little bit more room on the back for cable management, although I'm gonna be running an SFX power supply in this because I do not want to have, this is a pretty small chassis to have full length cables in this. I'm also not gonna be doing custom cables at the moment because I would order them from Cable Mod, but I think they might be up and moving or something. So I don't know how long like it would take to get those cables. I'll look into it maybe to continue the theme, but this is gonna be pretty interesting type of mod because I'm gonna be filling the interior with some like fairy light type stuff, green vine. I think I've said this already on camera. My daughter's room is very much like an oasis, if you will. More like a forest oasis, which doesn't make any sense because an oasis is like water and trees in the desert. Whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. It's like a retreat. Okay, we painted her room like a medium green, lots of wood tone. All her bookshelves and stuff are all dark wood. She's got some like distressed, her desk is almost like a distressed kind of style. She's got vines hanging from the wall. She's got like her candle light in there, her dim lighting. It's very, very much like a very calming space. And for her, the color green is very calming. So I want to continue that theme with the build. So I've bought, it's over here. So I went to Lowe's. As y'all know, I love Lowe's because I'm gonna be utilizing, I didn't get this at Lowe's. I just hit myself in the face with that. I'm gonna be utilizing the Noctua fans in their old school colors because I think that's gonna go very well with the color scheme that I want. I tried to match the colors as well as I could. I didn't realize, and Phil may not even notice this because he's red-green colorblind, but I thought the trim was more of just a normal beige. This is almost like fleshy tone. It's got a slight hint of red in there. It's very peachy almost. So that was less tan than I expected and more like a hint of pink in there, which is very odd. And now I understand why I hated the color scheme so much. But anyway, so I used those as an example to try and match colors. Anyway, these are just some RGB interior case lighting that I bought. So we're going with this color green right here. It's just earthy green. Also too, the Rust-Oleum has these like different nozzles now apparently, so you can change the spray pattern, which is pretty awesome. So that'll be nice. Fan horizontal, fan vertical, low pressure, which would be nice when I'm trying to get in close to stuff, so it's not just like all over the place. Anyway, there's a joke there, I'll leave it. And then this is the color I got, it's called Ivory Silk. It does not match the frames perfectly, but this is just gonna be for some accent color. Don't know where I'm gonna use it, but I wanted to prepare. Like I was that guy in the paint section in Lowe's going with a fan, and people were like, what the hell is this dude doing? And then I just got obviously some brown to sort of match the browns and stuff. So you get an idea of the color schemes that I'm sort of going with. And then I got some extra green and brown because those are the colors I'll be utilizing the most. Lowe's, why aren't you sponsoring me with spray paint yet? Anyway, for the parts I'm gonna be putting in here, I started to say, she has a 10700K now. I'm gonna be upgrading her to a 7900X. I was gonna go 14700K, which would be a huge upgrade. But there's a couple of reasons why I didn't. One, has nothing to do with you guys pushing back. Like, I really couldn't personally be bothered with the audience opinions on stuff we're using in my house for our own needs. Okay, we determine why we need it, you guys don't. The second thing is there's no upgrade path from the 14700K. That's a dead end socket. So if I wanted to upgrade her in the future, kind of stuck. But by going with the B650 socket, I can run the 7900X. I could upgrade her later to a 9900X if I wanted, or a 9800X 3D if she wants to try that later, or 9950X 3D, or whatever the next gen might be, because they're gonna support that socket for several generations. So there's an upgrade path there, which I thought made the most sense. So realistically, I should run out and get a B850 or 860 chipset, which has now come out, but I'm not that concerned with that at the moment. I know BIOS upgrades in the future will allow forward compatibility with AMD. They've done it with Ryzen's entire life cycle in all the generations. In fact, it was only recently, obviously, we got off AM4 onto AM5, and there's still like really good CPUs available for AM4 up into 2025. So moving to the AMD platform was about forward upgradability, has nothing to do with the fanboyisms or the haterisms of hating on Intel and loving on AMD. I love the fact that AMD is now on top in all of the public opinion. For the longest time, it was like, oh, if you want value, you don't want to spend a lot, go with AMD. In fact, AMD recently actually passed Intel on its like data and enterprise solutions when it comes to CPUs, which is Intel's like bread and butter. So it's hard not to support that. Anyway, that's enough of the validations there. Y'all are probably already feverishly writing your comments about how that's all a stupid way of thinking or whatever, and oops. Those comments fuel me, so keep them coming. Anyway, let's start the teardown process to see what I gotta do to get this ready. One of the things I'm happy about, very textured, very uniform powder coating on here too. I'm like kind of surprised. It's very, very nice. But its texture is very rough, which means I'm going to have a lot of grip for painting. I'm not even gonna be primering it. I'm just gonna be cleaning it really good with alcohol because we already have powder coat stuck to this, and paint will stick to powder coat just fine. I don't have to primer it. If it doesn't stick for some reason, I will strip it off, not my clothes, the paint, and start again. Now, the teardown video, or portion of this video, might seem like it's for you guys. It's actually for me, so I can remember how it goes back together after the paint and stuff is fully cured, which might take a day or two to get it fully cured right. It's a little chilly today, although the sun is out and we are fairly dry. We haven't had rain in a few days. So I'm not that concerned about humidity affecting our paint drying process. So the motherboard tray on this is actually adjustable. I don't know if you noticed in the cutouts of the motherboard tray, it supports back to front type motherboards, or like BTF slash, oh yeah, and then this moves right here, check this out. Yeah, so it supports back to front type of designs. Guess you just take that off. Yeah, you just take that off and then you move it forward. So that could give a little bit extra cable management space in the back, but also give you some room for that back to front connection because it's really close to the back panel right there. But I'm just curious what that means for the PCIe slots. That has to move too. So this is my new and improved paint. I forgot that doesn't actually click in down there because it's meant to be portable. My bad. Okay, so that's my new and improved paint rack. It's actually just a double layer clothing rack. It's more heavy duty. Make sure you weight the bottom. I've had it tip over and fall over with parts up top, but because it's dual layer, it means I can hang my wire up here, hang the parts, and have 2 areas where I can paint. So I'm excited about this. I taped it together in like key joints just to make sure it's more stable. It was like 30 bucks on Amazon, so I'm happy with it. It's got casters. I just gotta put something across the bottom so I can put our sandbags on there so it doesn't fall over. But this is what I'm gonna be using today to paint this stuff. So before I can get the stuff ready to paint, I'm gonna be using just like normal like household wire, the like heavy gauge, like 14 gauge wire or whatever it is. So I can create hooks to hang the stuff from, or you can use coat hangers or whatever else, string, whatever. But because the parts I hang sometimes, like that case can get kind of weighty, I want it to be able to hold the weight. I can put heavier things on here without having it fall down. So let's get that rigged up. Let's get it out there in the shop. Well, the warehouse, I guess at this point, which is not very much set up like a shop. Start alcohol wiping down the parts and start our first coat. Okay, it's done. About 3 days worth of work. To be honest, the first day was just a couple hours worth of work for the painting and teardown and all that, and then it was a solid day of paint curing. It doesn't help that the weather in Southern California decides to be like, let's get all rainy and crap, and then go warm and then be like, more rain is coming. So all that humidity doesn't help. So I had to get real creative with actually turning our lab here into a very warm room. Fortunately, the way that the AC is set up in here and in the mini splits means that I can actually crank this room and this room only, and I made it nice and warm and dehumidified so it would help off gas faster. But as you can see, I think it turned out really good. This is obviously going to be a very specific type of taste that would want a PC that looks like a tree, I guess. I'm calling it Tranquil, and because that's really what I was going for the look of my daughter's room. I'll put a picture on Twitter when this video goes live to show what this looks like in her room when her setup is done. So by the time this video goes live, her setup may not be done in her room, but just to show you what this looks like in her environment, I think you guys will be like, ah, okay, yeah, that definitely like is a puzzle piece that slots right into that. So she was on Windows 10, which I didn't even remember her being on 10. That shows how long it's been since her last system upgrade. To be honest, I think her last system could have been a Windows 11 system, but I just simply took the drive out of her old PC and threw it in the new one. So it's probably 2 versions of her PC old when it comes to OS. So we've updated her to Windows 11. In terms of hardware, I don't know exactly what did and did not make the cut. We were going to put a 7900X AMD AM5 processor in here with a micro ATX tough board. That led to issues with the graphics card impacting the bottom fans because of the MATX board having the top slot occupied by obviously a PCIe Gen 5 NVMe slot, which pushed everything down one, which meant that with our 2.25 slot 4080 ProArt card would not allow me to run the full-size bottom fans, and I did not want to swap the Noctua, the NF-A12s, I think is what they are, the airflow fans. I didn't want to swap those out for 15 mil fans. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of cooling because this is running a 14700K. So I switched back to the parts, the ITX board that I originally had gotten. Don't know where the box is. It's an Asus Strix board. Cue all the Asus stuff. I've already explained the situation on that and why we're using parts again, but this was sourced by Micro Center, not Asus, etc. You'd be surprised how limited there is, like not just inventory, but limited product that exists for ITX these days. So that's what I went with and deal with it. But regardless, it is a amazing build running the Noctua NHD15 Chromax black version that we put the brown fan, well, one brown fan back on, and then I went with the airflow fan here on the front because the issue was by running the big fan with these vines right here, it was giving me an issue where obviously the vines would want to poke into the fan and then sound like when you stick a baseball card in your spoke and when you're riding your bike as a kid. So obviously we don't want that. But because of the fact that we have a push, pull, pull, you can't see the other one, it's right there. That's plenty of airflow going through the frickin' tower, even though it's a 120 and then like a 160 and then like a 120. So plenty of cooling for that. In fact, we'll talk about the temperatures in a moment because I ran a 30-minute Cinebench test, scoring in the 33,300 range, which is actually pretty good, even with the Intel 253 watt profile on there. I did a slight undervolt. I was able to run it at 1.2 volts. It's actually running 1.215. I need to drop it a little more. Max temperatures, they didn't save on here. I can just do a quick run right now so you guys can see. Our core temp right now is at 66, 68, our package temp's at 77. So you can see we got 30 degrees of headroom before we would start hard thermal throttling. With it running for 30 minutes, that actually capped out at about 88 C on the package, which means it's warm, it's Intel. There's no doubt about that, 253 watts. And I did go in and basically give it an unlimited turbo boost for power because basically it's 253 for both short duration and long duration. So that's just 253 the entire time. And it's performing pretty well, actually. 33,300 in Cinebench R23 with all of her background tasks running, like everything, which is kind of crazy. I think it's performing pretty good. The RTX 4080 ProArt though, So about that for a second. That card is in, yeah, and like I said, she loves earthy tones, if this isn't an example right here. The kitty cat and crap, all right, whatever. The RTX 4080 ProArt. It is the smallest 4080 that you can get. In fact, a 4080 Super would have been nice, but whatever. I mean, she can't freaking complain about a 4080. She's coming from a 3080, and we know what the uplift looks like there. It's like 75 to 80% performance uplift. Every other card would start to become a problem when it comes to fitting, because when we look at this chassis real quick, we've got the power supply shroud overhang here. That's in the highest position right now to allow us to be able to run the graphics card to where it can clear on the bottom if we want it. But you can see we don't have a lot of space between the bottom of this 2.25 slot card and these fans. So if I were to run a bigger card, like a bigger 4080, any other 4080, we would have the impact problem again. So I lifted it up by going ITX, and then we would just have the same problem by putting a bigger card in there. Damn, there's so much airflow that comes through here. It's nuts. Like the amount of intake that comes in the bottom, and yes, the filter is on here because dog hair. So the filter is now falling off because it's magnetic. There we go. It's gonna be left on there for obvious reasons. Unfortunately though, the Noctua fans still do make a bit of a hum because any blade going past any opening, mesh, perforation, whatever, even though these are large openings, make noise. So I do have them kind of fan controlled right now in Fan Expert. Actually, it's not called Fan Expert anymore. The new version of Armory Crate, it's just part of the dashboard, but whatever. But yeah, you can see like our 3x3 cooler right here. We're asking a lot of this. There's not a lot of volume in front of it, but I'm sure people see this and are like, oh my God, you're just hurting your airflow. I promise you, actually, Phil, if you were to stick your finger in there, you can actually feel the airflow going through the leaves. But years and years ago, probably like 10 years ago, close to that, Luke at Linus Tech Tips did a video where he shoved like 5 power supplies worth of cables just in a case, just filling every void you could. And that's where the argument of cable managing improves your temperatures. And it showed, no, it doesn't. It literally made no difference to the temperatures. It's amazing how air can work its way around things. So there's no airflow restriction there whatsoever. But what I did do is I did put a grill on this fan and this fan just to ensure that we can keep most of them from sticking into the fans and making noise. So you can see for the lighting here, I went with a twinkly starry night effect built into Aura, but it's kind of a orangey yellow color. And then I don't have any sort of background color. I played around with the background being either maybe an orange or a green or a dark red or something, but it just didn't look right. So I wanted this to look like kind of like fireflies, like in the forest. So I think in a darker room, this is very well lit. It looks very, very good. It's subtle. I love the fact that the brown and tan power supply shroud right here, quite honestly, just screams Noctua. Like it just continues the theme all the way through, and I'm really, really happy with this. In fact, I was so happy with it, I even put the Noctua badge on here. I don't remember the last time I put a case badge on a case. Don't know what else to really say about it. I mean, it's got 32 gigabytes of DDR5 running at 6,000 megahertz. It's the Corsair Vengeance RAM. No RGB or anything because you can't see it because the cooler's on top of it. RTX 4080 ProArt. It's got a B760 board. That's what I forgot to mention with the motherboard. It's not even a Z series because there are no Z series ITX boards right now that I've been able to find. They're all like B760 and stuff. So I put a B760 in here, and even if you could find one, it'd be a waste. I'm not overclocking her builder, and there's no point. She's got a 2 terabyte Crucial T500 Gen 4 drive at 7,400 megabytes per second. She was coming from an old Gen 3 drive. Was it Gen 3 or Gen 4? I don't remember. It was a 980 Evo, I think it was, Samsung drive, but she came from 1 terabyte, so we doubled her storage. The power supply actually was very convenient. I'll show this real quick. I was like, I'll put ITX in here because I don't want to deal with all the extra wire length and stuff. But I didn't. I actually put an ATX board in here, or power supply in here, because as I was looking through our power supply inventory, I forgot all about something that exists that becomes very handy. Oh, and these vines are literally just hot glued under. We can add more or remove it depending on her taste. And everything is attached to the top. So everything else is just hanging down, as Phil calls it, like a bad comb over. Anyway, check it out. It is the Corsair Shift, which actually came very convenient. So this shroud right here, which is what I had to put to the highest position to clear the GPU, means there's literally no room between the power supply and that shroud, like maybe 10 to 15 millimeters at the most. There would not have been enough room for the cables. So the Shift allowed everything to come out sideways. And you see the cable management actually turned out really, really good considering it's all ATX length cables. So I used a couple of Amazon fan hubs here. This is one hub right here for all the top fans. So the 2 fans in the cooler, the 2 exhausts and the rear exhaust all speed up and slow down together because they're working with the CPU. And then the other hub, which you can't see is actually covered up by all the vines, is right next to the bottom fans, which is running all 3 of the bottom fans on a hub. So 2 connections, that's it for all of the fans. And the cable management here was really, really nice. And the nice thing is if we need more storage someday, which I don't think she will because she never filled up a 1 terabyte drive, but she is a PC gamer and she's getting into bigger games and we know how that goes. We have an available NVMe slot right here. I can actually feel airflow coming up right here from those bottom fans. So that means there would be slight active cooling on any drive that gets stuck right there. And there would be enough room actually to put a drive with a heatsink and it wouldn't interfere with anything. So that is available, but I'm just, not appalled, but I'm surprised at how well the cable management went in this, considering it is a fairly small chassis. It's not SFF by any means, but it's definitely smaller than her Lian Li 011 that she has now. But I'm really, really happy with the way that this turned out. And like anything else, the true joy as a dad that I'm getting out of this is going to be when she sees it and see her reaction. But I'll tell you what, she is a very grateful kid. Doesn't ask for a lot, and she would love if I gave her a cardboard box. Like, it's like the kid with the avocado. An avocado, thanks. Like that'd totally be my kid right there. So I like to spoil her when I can. She gets almost straight A's. She got a B in one class, and she's very unhappy about it. Like that one just came off, so I'll have to. Oh no! They're coming off. I'll fix them. The problem is I didn't hot glue all of them in there. Okay, I'll have to fix that, but that's not a big deal. Anyway, but I think it turned out very, very well. I'm happy with it. I just need to fix some of the vine on the top here and take the top panel off. And actually, you don't even need to do that. You know what? Because most of them are literally just stuck in the hole and pressure fit. I think it turned out great. I think she's gonna love it. She hasn't seen it yet. Her friends have seen the pictures of the progress and they're like, oh my God, that is so her. Like she's gonna love it, so. I can't wait to get it in her space. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. It took about 3 days total. It's gotta be like a new record for me at some point, I guess. I don't know, I guess I've done harder mods in 1 day, but they didn't usually involve this level of disconstruction and painting and stuff. But all right, time to get out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll put in the description a full link to the parts, full list of the parts. Most of them came from Micro Center, so thanks for that. That 4080 Pro Art actually came from Falcon Northwest. I've had that for a bit. So it was on the shelf and it was perfect for this. Otherwise, she was gonna end up getting like a 4070 Slim or something like that, which would have still been an upgrade over her 3080, but I could fit it and I'm excited and she earned it and deserves it and she's a good kid. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, we'll see you in the next one.